When I opened his medical records, I realized that I had to save the life of the man who killed my sister 11 years ago. I'm a doctor, but that day, I was just a brother. I spent almost 20 years in surgery. I've seen children survive gunshot wounds, and strong men die from a trivial fall down the stairs. I'm used to pain, to blood, to screaming. But there are some things that are impossible to get used to. For example, the way your fingers tremble when the operating table turns into an arena of personal warfare. My name is Daryl. I'm 43. I work at the county hospital in Georgia, head of trauma. Every morning I arrive in my old Toyota and go in through the back door, not because I have to, but because everyone knows that if you arrive first and leave last, the doors have long been a formality for you. I don't smoke, but I always keep an old lighter in my pocket. It belonged to my sister, Cindy. She died 11 years ago. The lighter doesn't work, but when I squeeze it in my pocket, it makes me feel better. I don't talk about it with my colleagues. I don't mention it in conversations. But every morning, before entering the operating room, I stand in front of the mirror and whisper, "For her sake, for the sake of everyone like her." That day, I saved the life of a little boy, Trevor, aged 7. He fell out of a fourth-floor window when his mother went to get the dishes. We fought for almost 4 hours. The liver is punctured, the lung is compressed, the pelvis is fractured. But we got him out. I held his tiny hand when he came to in the intensive care unit. "You're a real soldier, Trav," I said. "You'll survive." When I returned to the resident's office, Dr. Henriks, the chief of the emergency room, was waiting for me. "Do you have time? What is it?" he asked, knitting his eyebrows. "We have an emergency. It's serious." "Who?" He sighed. "A patient with a gunshot in the stomach. He is being led off the highway. They don't give his name, but it looks like he's from the local area, and you better be prepared." I didn't know that this day would turn my life around. In the waiting room, noise, ambulance, nurses, screams. The gurney was wheeled right into the intensive care unit. 38-year-old man, shot in the upper quadrant, blood loss, blood pressure is dropping. The paramedic shouted. I looked at his face. It was unfamiliar to me in the semi-darkness. Stubble, blood, a gunpowder burn on his cheek. "On the table," I commanded. "Internal bleeding. The spleen is ruptured. The intestines are affected." I acted on the machine. Gloves, scalpel, clamp. But at some point I was shown his documents. Name, surname. And everything in me froze. It was Tommy Lee Silvers. The same man who hit my sister 11 years ago and fled the scene of the accident. I stepped back from the table. My breath caught. "Doctor?" Nurse Linda gave me a worried look. "Is everything okay?" I was silent. He stood there as if paralyzed. In front of me lay the man who had caused me to bury my younger sister. The man who didn't get out of the car then. Who didn't call 911. Who disappeared. The case was closed 3 years later. He was not found, although I knew that he was hiding under a false name. And now he's on my operating table. And I'm his only chance to survive. I took a step forward. "The pressure is dropping," Linda shouted. I pulled out the clip. A scalpel. I got into the rhythm again. I don't feel just actions. Blood. Suture. Adrenaline. I closed my eyes to his face. All I could hear was the phone and my heartbeat. He was getting closer to life by the minute. After the operation, I locked myself in the residence room. He took out Cindy's lighter, squeezed it until it hurt. I saved him. But inside, I didn't know if I had done the right thing. Because I didn't know if I could handle what was going to happen next. We've only just started this story, but believe me, it's going to get even more intense. Stay to find out what happens when the hero is confronted with even greater injustice. I didn't sleep all night. When I got home, I locked myself in my office, turned off my phone, and just sat in the dark. One name was throbbing in my head. One person. One date. November 6, 2012. Cindy was returning home after an evening shift at the supermarket. She always walked down the same street, always wearing headphones. And that night, she was hit by a car. There were no witnesses. Cameras, too. She died on the spot. The killer is gone. Tommy Lee Silvers. I heard that name once, in a report that was then lost somewhere. And now it's on my desk, like a diagnosis that I can't cure. The next day, I went to work as if nothing had happened. A white coat, a cup of coffee, a patient appointment. But everything inside was ringing. How is he? I asked Linda in the hallway. Blood is dripping, but the pressure has stabilized. Everything is based on transfusion. But if there is no improvement, sepsis will begin. The forecast is cautious. I nodded. He pretended to be busy with paperwork. But every step, every glance at the screen, reminded me that he was there, on the 5th floor, under guard, and that I owe him even more. Detective Burrows came by at lunchtime. "Here, Blake, do you have a minute?" He was about 50 years old, with gray temples and a face that saw too much of the truth. He immediately put the ID on the table. I nodded. "Did you operate on Tommy Silvers yesterday?" My fingers tightened on the handle. "Yes. And what?" "This person is under investigation. He was identified. He has been wanted since 2013. He disappeared after a fatal accident. The woman is 22 years old. The case was in Atlanta. Does that mean anything to you?" I could barely hold my breath. "I've heard about it, but you know, I don't choose who to operate on." He nodded. "And you're doing the right thing. But I need to know, is he conscious?" "Not yet. Maybe tomorrow." "Why?" "Because the victim is your sister. I checked the file. Cindy Blake. I'm sorry, doctor. It's not a formality. I didn't think we'd ever find him. And now he's here. And you saved him." I left the office in a daze. All the walls in the hospital suddenly began to press down. The corridors are cramped. The light is too bright. I went to his room. 5th floor. Room 514. The door is ajar. He's lying there, unconscious, pale. The monitors are beeping, slowly. There's an 4 on his arm. There are bandages on his chest. There is a bandage on his head. The man who killed my sister is sleeping while being rescued. I came closer. "You don't know who I am, do you?" I whispered. "But I know you. I operated on you when I could have just walked away, but I didn't leave." I turned around and left. The next day was worse than any war. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. At work, A smile is like a mask. Houses are empty. I squeezed Cindy's lighter until it hurt. I got a call late in the evening. Daryl, this is Linda. He came to his senses. Tommy, he's conscious. I sat down. My heart stopped for a second. Did he say anything? Just your name, and he asked who operated on him. What did you say? That the head of surgery. She didn't mention her name, but he wants to talk with me. I stood at the door of the ward for a long time. He was conscious. The eyes are cloudy, but alive. Did he recognize me? I don't know, but he looked right at me. Are you the one who saved me? What is it? He asked hoarsely. I nodded silently. Thanks. I don't remember how it happened. Someone fired a shot. I didn't think they'd pull it out. I stood and watched. Can you hear me? I took a step forward. I hear you. I can hear everything. And I was seething inside. We're on the verge of a climax. What's going to happen now is going to change everything. You just can't miss the denouement of this story. Can you hear me? What is it? He repeated again. You saved me, didn't you? I was looking at him, lying on a hospital bed, with a shadow of pain and fear in his eyes. He didn't look like a murderer, but I couldn't forget. I knew every detail of the report, every scar on my sister's body. I picked out the funeral dress myself because her face was unrecognizable. I was at the scene of the accident, and now I was standing in front of someone who had run away, leaving her on the side of the road. Yes, I said finally, it was me. I operated on you. He closed his eyes. Thanks. Those 2 words, it was like they cut off my breath. I wanted to hit him, to scream, but I stood there, because I was a doctor. Because I was her brother. The next day, Detective Burrows came up to me. Blake, he's still in the room. He can be questioned officially today. Do you want to be present? Yes. It can be painful. I know. The room was quiet. Just an 4-drip, a humming machine, and muffled footsteps in the background. Tommy lay there, staring at the ceiling. We are officially notifying you that you are under investigation, the detective began. Do you want to say something? He was silent. I was sitting in the corner, quietly, like a shadow. 11 years ago, you hit a woman named Cindy Blake. They disappeared. The cameras didn't register you. Only recently, DNA matches were found on the remains from the site. Did you know she was dead? I didn't mean to. I was scared then. I didn't know what to do. I was drunk. I thought she would survive. Then I saw the news. I just didn't know how to live with it. He was crying, but I didn't care. I came closer. Do you remember what she was wearing? Do you remember how you screamed? He shook his head. I don't remember. I just drove on. And I stayed. I was picking up her bones from the road. I watched as my mother couldn't come to the funeral. I was burying my best friend's fiancée. She dreamed of being a teacher, and you just left. He shrank back. I'm ready to sit down. I'm not looking for forgiveness. But if you can, as a human. I can't, I interrupted. But as a doctor, I did what I had to do. 3 weeks have passed. Tommy was arrested. He is awaiting trial. He doesn't have a chance. And I went back to work. No big words. Without explanation. But one day, during the night shift, a teenager, Trevor, came up to me. The one I saved before. "Here, Blake," he asked. "Can I hug you?" I bent down. He hugged me tightly. "Mom said you're a real hero." I smiled. And then he took out a lighter. He looked at her. And for the first time in 11 years, he let go. I have not forgiven. I haven't forgotten. But I made the choice that Cindy would have made. I'm a doctor. I'm a brother. I am human.